Hello traders and investors, welcome back to the Trend Trader channel. In today's video, I want us to look at a company. Some of us are familiar with this company. The company that we are going to be looking at is OUTsurance. So for people that have insurance, you will be familiar with OUTsurance. It's a company that operates in South Africa, but they also have a business in Australia, right? So before we move forward, we need to look back at where OUTsurance came from. At this moment, OUTsurance is listed in the GSE, but for some time it traded as a company or as an entity of another company that was listed in the GSE. So when you go back in time, you can see they still have some information about RMI reports, and the reason for that is because if you download the 2022 RMI annual report or annual financial statement, you will see that they describe the nature of the business. The business that we are talking about at this moment is RMI. So the nature of the business of RMI is an investment company. As an investment company, it invests in different businesses. So they've got a large portfolio where they're invested. So one of the things that they have done is that they looked at ways to evaluate the portfolio that they have and to unlock some value, because some of the holding or investment companies, investors, sometimes they will complain that the value of the total holding company or the investment company, they don't see it. It would be better if those investment companies, they unbundle some of those or usually the individual components are called sum of the parts. So the investors will usually propose that the company unbundle and list the entities separately. So that is one of the things that is highlighted in this director's report. If you scroll down, you will see that the RMI board took a decision that it will be in the best interest of shareholders not to continue with an active investment strategy. So one of the things that they wanted to do was to do an effective listing of OUTsurance. One of the benefits of that is that this will simplify the operational structure of OUTsurance, and also it can potentially lead to a high dividend, to a higher dividend payout ratio, and also it will eliminate some operating cost that the business incur by occupying the RMI head offices. And then also there was some special dividend that was paid. The company is not going to pay dividend now, not that they won't declare dividend. This is a past dividend, so don't make a decision thinking that RMI or OUTsurance is going to pay a dividend. So then they speak a lot about those transactions and what happened. So based on this, then they went ahead and listed OUTsurance as a component or as a company on its own. At this moment, the company is trading in the GSE. The share code is OUT, OUT, for those people. Yeah, so the share code is just out. It's listed there. The current share price is 34 rand 26 cent. So basically the share price is just above 30 rand per share, because the share price is going to fluctuate a bit. So now that we know where OUTsurance came from, then we can look at OUTsurance as a business, what they are. So like I said, it's an insurance and financial services business that operates in South Africa and Australia. In South Africa, they operate as OUTsurance, just the way that we know it. In Australia, they are known as You. I'm just gonna call it as You, but this is the name of the business in Australia. And the structure of OUTsurance, so there's OUTsurance Group Limited, which is the entity that is listed in the GSE, and then it has some subsidiaries. One of them is OUTsurance Holdings, and then they still have a bit of RMI treasury company. And then under OUTsurance Holding, they've got different things. There's OUTsurance Life, OUTvest, OUTsurance Shared Services, and that the entity that is operating in Australia. So that is just the business. We know that OUTsurance and Discovery, among other things, they always talk about value creation and value sharing. So there's all that corporate talk in that page. But when you look at the history of OUTsurance, you can see that that it's a business that was established in 1998. And then in 2008, then they started to model U based on that, and then they started to operate that business in Australia. They also established OUTsurance Life in 2010, and in 2017 they came out with OUTvest. Then in 2022, following the RMI's board decision, then OUTsurance Group was listed there in the JSE. So when you go under financial result, you are most likely going to see the previous result, because at that time they haven't produced their own result under the banner of OUTsurance, the result that they have under these RMI reports. So you can see, if you're looking at the annual financial statement or the integrated annual report, that is where you're going to find it, and this is where we found this information about the nature of the business. So when we look at the previous report, which was the 2022 or the investor presentation that was done on September 2022, not the interim result, what we see there is the different segments within OUTsurance business. We can see that they have about 52% that is in the car insurance, about 9% in business insurance, and 27% in personal property. But there's also business motor, which makes about 12%. We're not going to focus more on the Australian business, just locally. This is what we see. And if we scroll there, we see, because there were some floods in KZN. Also, remember, there's OUTsurance Life, so some of the earnings or the revenue was impacted by the emergence of COVID-19. And in the insurance business, the KZN storms, they also affected the profitability of the business. But while we hope that the KZN storms was like a once-off event, we're not going to experience something similar to that again in the near future. And we also hope that COVID-19, at least globally, we can sort of deal with it at this moment, so that it no longer becomes a large burden. So when you look at the financial review at the group level, not for individual companies, we can see that OUTsurance, they have about a 74% profit. Remember, it's OUTsurance and U, which operates in Australia. So the South African business contributes about 74% of that operating profit. And then there are other small segments there that contribute as well. So when you look at the group consolidated review, what I want us to look at, we can look at the operating profit. The business has an operating profit of about 2.8 billion for 2022. There was a 13% reduction from 2021. And also when you look at the return on equity, because if you invest in a company, that is what you're interested in, how much of that equity returns good money for you as an investor. So it's above 20%. It is a decent return on equity. And then the dividend that they paid in 2022 was just shy of 50 cents, but it was a 17% reduction compared to the previous year. But also remember that they sold some of their companies, and then they declared a special dividend of 82 cent per share. But special dividend, they don't always come. Usually they are once-off event. But the dividend per share, that is where we can start to focus and estimate the dividend yield, and also make some expected dividend growth based year on year. So there's a lot of things that are there that they report. Basically, that's it. That when you look at it at a group level, at this moment we have this company in our portfolio. We like OUTsurance, but remember, there's no company that we say it's a long-term investment. We like a company for as long as it is making us money. Once the company it stops making us money, then there's no need for us to continue to be interested in that particular company. So that is OUTsurance in a nutshell. Remember, you can find all the results under their financial result if there's something specific that you're interested in. This was just a brief overview of the business. And once again, we appreciate everyone that has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And if you found value in this video, please smash that like button. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section. Then we will see you in the next video.